we took a small little dip, and then we just shot right back up. Again, this kind of shows you what the market sentiment is, and it is very, very, very bullish. Very bullish indeed. There's no profit taking at all. None whatsoever. And if you've been sitting on the sidelines, you're just going to miss out. Just like this guy right here, Mr. Portnoy. Over time, we have seen him get into Bitcoin and get out of Bitcoin, get back into Bitcoin, get out of Bitcoin. You know, it's so funny. Like, Kraken sponsors him as a trader, yet he's not even into Bitcoin anymore. Like, a lot of people make fun of him because as soon as there's some volatility, he just sells off. And he just admitted that around $40,000, he had $2 million to go put into Bitcoin. He didn't, and now he's sitting on the sidelines without any Bitcoin. So if you're sitting on the sidelines and you're waiting to enter, well, you may be waiting forever, right? That's why I've been saying just DCA, dollar cost average into your buys. You don't have to go all in. Set a schedule for yourself, or just whenever you get a paycheck, however you want to do it, you just dollar cost average in. That's how so many people have accumulated their full Bitcoin, or 2 Bitcoin, or 5 Bitcoin, right? Because it's virtually impossible at this point to pull out $87,000, $88,000, soon $100,000 out of your bank account to buy a single Bitcoin. Only way to do it is over time, right? So that is the true way to do it. And as Bitcoin gets higher and higher, it's going to be harder and harder and harder to accumulate. But if you're just sitting on the sidelines, you're always going to have that regret. I could have bought at this price. I could have bought it at that price. And there will always be people you meet that will tell you the same thing. I could have bought it when it was at $1,000. I could have bought it when it was $5,000. I could have bought it at $20,000. I could have bought it at $40,000 last year. And next year people will tell you, well, I could have bought it at $80,000. The story will never change. But you know who doesn't have regret? All these institutions that's been loading up. Like yesterday, 1.1 billion inflow. Today, a lot smaller, surprisingly, even though Bitcoin had a huge recovery. Maybe a lot of that. It has to be. A lot of it from Asia or from Europe. We don't have BlackRock's numbers yet. It could be absolutely enormous. But we actually had some outflow from Grayscale. Grayscale. Don't know why. Had a little bit of outflow from ARK as well. But overall, net positive inflow of 39 million. Don't know what it is from BlackRock. I have a feeling it could be quite tremendous. That's why we had such a big recovery today. Not only recovery, but we formed a new high at 90,000 today. So these guys have no regret. They've been buying and DCAing, right? They have not been sitting on the sideline. They've been DCAing ever since ETFs debuted, right? They're doing it right. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. If you look at what's happened before and what's happening now, we're definitely on our way. We're on our way up, right? Even though it's been pretty great these last few weeks, it's actually been great since September, October. Let's not forget, September we had a green month, which was actually the best September we've ever had in Bitcoin's history. So let's not forget that. 7% was actually the best September we ever had for Bitcoin. And then we had 11% after that in October. That's pretty good. Right now we're like plus 25, plus 28%. So that's even better. But you're compounding on top of each other right now. But just look at what happened before. We're very similar. After 43 weeks, back in 2017 is when Bitcoin really took off. And we're about right there. Are we going to follow a similar pattern? Maybe. Quite possibly. History doesn't repeat, but it tends to rhyme. And it's looking like it's very similar. One thing's for certain, we do have a lot of metrics that measure our tops. And one thing's for certain, that we're nowhere near top. So maybe we're not repeating, but we can measure that we're nowhere near top. So definitely we're nowhere near our top. You know, a lot of people talked about that 5.2 theory or whatever. That predicted 80K was our top. We broke through that, right? That 5.2 theory, I've always called it BS. And there were so many people that said, no, Bitcoin's never going to break 80K. What happened to those people? Why are they not in here saying, well, 80K is Bitcoin's top? This is nonsense. It's total nonsense. A lot of people just throw a lot of nonsense out there. They don't even quite believe themselves. They're just throwing it out there to cause FUD because they haven't accumulated enough, or they have no Bitcoin at all, and they're just miserable because they've missed out on all the gains. But luckily, we've been through so many cycles, we can now measure, right? We haven't just been through one cycle. We've been through 3 cycles. Now we're in the 4th one. We can measure these tops with meaningful data. And you can see we're nowhere near top. Nowhere near the top. And not only that, we have other data too. Like, for example, you know, I show you guys those liquidation levels or liquidation walls, right? But if you're looking at just sell walls in general, if you're looking at Binance and Coinbase, there's not a lot above 100,000. There are a lot, you know, a lot of volume between 90 to 100,000. A lot of people are placing their sells between 90 to 100,000. But if you look at what's circled above 100,000, there's not a whole lot. So what's going to happen after we break $100,000? I don't know. I don't know. Does Bitcoin just go like skyrocket all the way to like 150 by the end of this year? I don't know. I have a good feeling that we will be at 100,000 much sooner than expected. It's only, what day is it? It's only Tuesday. It's only Tuesday. We could actually be at 100,000 maybe even tomorrow. I speculate maybe it could happen today. We're at 90,000. We were only 10,000 points away. You know, 100,000 could come tomorrow or maybe at the end of this week. If we hit $100,000 in mid-November, where are we going to end up? End of November. What about mid-December, end of December, when there's no sell walls, there's nothing, there's nothing holding us back? Who knows how high we will go? And if we end the year at 150,000, how high are we going to end up end of 2025?